views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome to Phantom Science, the podcast, where we discuss how to prove it's not just all in your head. Does the paranormal exist? If it does, how does it work? And how do we gather solid indications and data? During this podcast, we will be discussing things that many people may hold near and dear to themselves. If you feel offended at any point, just take a deep breath and think about the thing that offended you. Because we will be playing the role of the recently declawed Office of Devil's Advocate. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, and thank you very much for listening.
And welcome to another episode of Phantom Science. And tonight me and Nico are going to be talking about movies.
Ooh, which ones?
Horror movies.
Oh, okay, I'm not interested.
And, more importantly, horror movies based on true story.
Are any of them based on a true story?
No. They say they are. So, when I was doing digging, there is no accountability in that statement for movies at all.
Really?
None.
Well, I mean, I guess based on a true story, I mean, doesn't mean it has to be true. It's just based on a true story.
On an alleged true story.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And the only reason that it's a bugbear for movies is if they try and do an historical movie and historians pick holes in it. That's bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
But if you do it with a horror movie with ghosts and witches and dolls, there are no established facts.
Yeah.
For people to, all people can say is, I don't believe it.
Yeah, there's not really anything else they can do.
So, anytime you see based on a true story, let it be known, the movie industry doesn't give a shit. You can't sue them for it, really. Unless it's somebody they're doing a biography that's all lies, they can be done for libel, I guess. Or slander.
They know people are going to watch them anyway, because, people like horror movies.
Yeah, and the true story just adds that little edge to it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
This kind of really happened? Okay.
Just kind of like attaching science to devices.
Yeah.
Attach true story to a film, I guess. So
yeah, it kind of brings a lot along with it.
Well, not in my mind, but in a lot of people's mind, I guess.
Yeah, if you're trying to have a good time, watch a scary movie.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have to do based on a true story if the movie's good enough. That's what always kind of puts me off. Why would you bother adding that?
Yeah, that's probably a strategic thing. It's for sales.
Yep.
Adding that, people associate it with that real story, that alleged real story.
Yep.
Brings in views.
What do you think, Joker?
Bull crap.
All right.
I don't know.
Alrighty. So, anyway, we were just brainstorming a couple of movies, and here's something that struck me. So, on our list came, top of mind list was the Amityville Horror, The Conjuring, Annabelle. They were kind of like the top three that we thought of off the top of our head.
I mean, yeah, they're some of the most popular right now.
Well, the thing is, all three of those had Ed and Lorraine Warren investigating them.
Yeah,
So, it's kind of like they've cornered the Hollywood market, from the 70s onward.
I mean, they were actually a part of the films, too, weren't they? I think they were actually on some of the sets. And
they were, quote, advising.
Yeah.
So they kind of... It makes me wonder why no cases that I know of, and please put in the comments if I'm wrong, but there's been no movies made from other paranormal investigations or investigators, it seems to me it's all coming out of the Ed and Lorraine Warren stable.
I mean, I'm sure if we looked really hard, there's probably a few others, but no, mainly, yeah, some of the most popular ones.
Not big budget ones.
Yeah, not the really mainstream ones.
Now, do you think that's just coincidence?
No.
Am I being too scared? I mean, come on, that's a hell of a coincidence. Like, oh, I know, we're going to write a horror movie based on a true story. Whose true story are we going to get?
Well, I mean, you're going to pick the best ones, right?
Either that or the ones you already have the rights to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, for example, if we go back to the Amityville, which has been, honestly, objectively, it's been proved so fake. I mean, it's crazy. And the priest said none of that happened. That everything that was supposed to have been destroyed, the doors and all that, weren't destroyed. The police were supposed to have been called multiple times. There's no record of them being called.
Really?
The footprints in the snow didn't happen because it didn't fucking snow when they checked on the weather for that period of time.
So, like, half of it's made up?
More than half of it.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, now, here's my problem, and going back to, talking about pissing in the research pool. So Jay Anson, who wrote the book, he's allowed to have poetic license and jazz it up for fiction in the book. And then we come back to this hook based on a true story.
Yeah.
Now, how much of it's true now?
Yeah.
And you start pissing in the pool like that, you don't know what's real, what isn't. And then when money gets involved, probably none of it is.
No, it's just what pulls in views.
Yeah. And there's a couple of things that kind of struck me. They were so scared they fled the house in the middle of the night. They did have a return that weekend to do a garage sale. So the Lutzies held a garage sale after they fled the house because it was so terrible. I know.
Who does that? No, it's really important. We must sell these things.
Yeah, it's you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I was so scared, and it's like it's a portal to hell. I got to go back and sell the shit out of my garage and my sofa and everything else. And why? Because we're broke. My business is failing. The house is going to get fucking repossessed anyway.
No.
How can I make some money out of this?
It's like if a demon punched you in the face and you ran back for your PlayStation.
Yes.
Like, no.
Demon, you can have my soul, but not my gaming equipment. So, yeah, I mean, for me, that threw up a red flag. I bet everything about that has thrown up red flags for me.
That's crazy.
And I just... The other thing was...
Take pause.
The other thing was, for me, like the young son Christopher, who was 7 at the time, he's gone on record multiple times saying that there was a few weird things happened in the house, but nothing like it said in the book. And he actually is quoted as saying that George is a professional showman.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, so with all that out there, why would people still believe in it?
Because they're too invested in it, I think.
I think
that's the trouble. People don't like to know, people don't like to think that they got fooled.
Yeah.
So they go out, they buy the book, they read the book, you talk about it, it's a true story, everybody gets invested in the story, and then you hate to admit that you've been fooled, I think. And I'm no different than anyone else.
To me, there's nothing wrong with just saying, okay, this is a good story. So what if it, it's been proven to not really happen? It's still a good story.
Yeah, it is. But like I say, I think people get personally invested, or, if okay, so here's an example. Our next show is going to be on UFOs, believe it or not. So everybody thinks that the government is hiding UFOs because we're not ready for it. Now, the reason that we're not ready for it is because religion's got to have time to adapt of getting away from Genesis.
Oh, you want to cut that?
So it's going to have to give religions time to rethink like their Genesis stories and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, and I guess what I'm getting to is when people get invested in something, it's hard for them to let go. Yeah. And that's just a human trait. So if something takes off that big that it's true, and I can't see a lot of people. And the Lutzes aren't going to say, "Oh yeah, we were lying the whole time." They've got too much tied up in it.
No, they can't.
Yeah, he went to his deathbed swearing it was all true.
Even though the kid's sitting right there going, "Nah."
Yep. And the priest was saying, "Nah."
That's ridiculous.
So, in fact, even George DeFeo, the murderer that was there before, his lawyer admitted that he sat down with George over a few bottles of wine, and they pretty much made up half the story over a few glasses of wine.
Really?
Because he wanted to use it as a defense. My client is possessed.
Huh. So really they created that whole story up to try and get out of... I mean, like you said, his client is possessed. That's something that's actually been used before?
Yeah, it was all... it was all kind of tongue-in-cheek, apparently, but... I
know people claim to be, like, insane and stuff like... they do stuff to try and get out of or get a lesser sentence or something, or...
Yeah,
a nicer one.
From acorns.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
So anyway, so... The Amityville was one of the ones. So the next one that came up on our list was The Conjuring. That's another one from Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah.
Stable of investigations.
I mean, it is a good movie.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the Amityville, they're all good movies. Yeah. They're good. But based on true story, no. They're not. There's a core investigation they did for the Perron family. And the Perron family's come out. One of the daughters wrote 3 books.
Really?
So everybody making money.
Yeah.
And
is she claiming that any of that's fake? Or?
Oh, yeah. No. She's claiming it all... Well, not like in the movie, but she's claiming a lot of stuff happened. See, and that's the other thing. So that for them, that started... Let me check my notes. Yeah, so the Warrens investigated in 1974. That family lived in their house since 1971. And they lived there till 1980.
Wow.
So it can't have been that bad, really.
No, right? Not worth actually leaving. I mean, I guess some people get stuck sometimes. You never know what you have to deal with. But
I don't care. If shit like that was happening in my house.
Yeah, I'd be gone.
I'd be like, bye-bye now.
That was alwado the funniest part to me in some of the movies, the people who go back and then the next night they pretend like everything's fine. No.
Do you remember the film Poltergeist? That had it right.
Time to go.
And then when they get to the motel, he just wheels the TV out onto the front step. It's like, that'd be me. Like, no.
Wouldn't you? If you saw like a big dark shadow or something creepy standing in the corner of your house, you'd be done.
So, yeah, I mean, and there's a bunch of stuff in The Conjuring. Once again, following the same footprint as the Amityville. So the exorcism never happened because the Warrens were Catholic, and Ed never ever did an exorcism. He's Catholic. He says, need a priest to do an exorcism. Now, they did do a seance where apparently weird shit happened. And the husband of the house threw him out.
Really?
Yeah. So, but that's not and it starts off with Annabelle, the doll, that doesn't look like nothing like Annabelle the doll.
Not at all. Well, and that's the movie play up.
Exactly.
But the real doll doesn't even really look that scary.
No, it's like a Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah, it is.
It's.
And they were popular too. I mean, you can buy those.
Yeah, you can. And the Dybbuk box, for example. Now, we went to the Granger house and talked to the guy that originally owned it, and he did his explanations and things, and he's a really nice guy. The only problem being is the Dybbuk box is also a hoax that people... I mean, the guy that built it has admitted it's a drinks cabinet. It's not even what it purports to be.
Really?
It's not a Jewish prayer box. It's bullcrap. You can find them on eBay.
See,
It's
why
a
wouldn't it stop
mobile
after
drinks
that?
cabinet.
If the person who built it literally admits, hey, no, why would you keep going off that?
Because too much invested. People grab on. Oh no, it must be true because it's what I want to be true.
Yeah.
And it's
plus,
not.
too, what are people who think, they said they've had things happen to them? What do they do when someone comes out and says, no, I made it all up? Well, what happened to me is still real. You know what I mean?
It's...
Is it still real?
No, it's not. I mean, it's this kind of thing that just disappoints the crap out of me. And I guess for why it is, I do believe, supernatural shit happens. Nowhere near as often as the movies make out, or popular culture makes out. And I believe it's a lot more subtle than most, because if it wasn't, you bet your ass someone would have caught it by now.
Yeah.
Definitely. Which reminds me, when I was growing up, I lived just outside of Enfield. At the time of the Enfield poltergeist, big thing was going around the world. And I used to walk past that house pretty regularly.
How old were you then?
I have no idea. Around 10, I think. Somewhere around there. 9 or 10, if I remember right.
And that was huge.
I could look it up. But the thing is, guess what? Ed and Lorraine Warren went and investigated it. All the way over in England.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess, you get a name behind you. I mean, if there's money behind it, right?
And if there's documentaries out there, and a couple of journalists were from, I think it was The Guardian. I can't remember. But a couple of national newspapers had journalists covering it. And the best shots they got were from outside the window when no one thought they were looking. And then there's a famous picture of her levitating when really all she's doing is jumping off the bed. Now, when she got caught out, as she grew up, they asked her, hey, this looks a bit dodgy. And she admitted that she did fake a lot of it.
Really?
But she said, I only faked it. She never admitted to faking all of it. But she admitted to faking some of it because there were so many journalists and people that wanted something on cue,
Yeah.
But she was a kid, so she ended up faking it.
Disappoint them.
Yeah. So, and that, once again, pissing in the research pool.
Yeah, that's true. Plus, to imagine that situation, your parents being like, all right, listen, give them a show. We're money to be made here. We're on the news.
Could be.
I mean, it's true,
Yeah, plus, I mean, you're a kid, you don't want to be called a liar or a fake or, and if it really, imagine the pressure you'd be under if this stuff is really happening, especially to a kid, and you're telling people and all of a sudden you get this avalanche of publicity, all stand at the door looking at you, waiting for it to happen as a kid.
Yeah.
You'd be like, they're not going to believe me, they think I'm making it up, so you just, I can buy into that,
My own daughter, she did something like that, she never had a thought about any of that kind of stuff, ghosts and things like that, people when they die, they go up to the stars, that kind of stuff. But when I started getting into investigating and she saw our videos and groups, she started saying things like, oh, outside my bedroom, I see a shadow on the door. And I'm like, well, honey, does it ever move? No, but it's always there. And I'm like, yeah, but does it ever move? Is it there? Does it ever go away? Does it ever come closer to you? No, it's just the same shadow.
Yep.
It's even gotten in her head.
Well, and that's the thing is, did she notice it before she started thinking about it?
Yeah,
No.
Yeah. No, it was after she started, she watched some of our videos and stuff and heard some of the creepy sounds and saw the ghost speeder going off and,
Yeah.
You know.
And that's the way the human mind works. It fills in the blanks of things that it doesn't know or understand. It will fill in blanks, and that's where a lot of this maybe comes from, methinks.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, I guess, and I'm not sure if I can pad out a whole evening or a whole episode talking about, because basically the movies based on true story are not. And half the time, the true story is not even based on a true story.
I mean, the ones that we just talked about, you even said there are people who admitted to faking it. It wasn't real.
Mm-hmm.
And, But then again, too, I mean...
But here's something that's really interesting to me, too. There are a lot of people in the paranormal community that think Ed and Lorraine Warren are up there on a pedestal. And that is an extremely cultivated image that they cultivated. Because the more you dig into Ed and Lorraine Warren, you will find allegations and sworn affidavits pretty much. Ed Warren was Bill Cosby. So he's, quote, assistant. And I have to get my glasses here to read from my notes.
People are going to hate us now.
Well,
you're calling out the big ones.
No, but this is all documented, So he started in the early 60s. Ed hooked up with Judith Penny, who was 15 at the time.
Whoa. She
then continued to live at their house for 40 years.
What?
And this is from her. And she's in her 70s when she wrote this affidavit. So I can't see what she's got to,
Is there anything to lie
And she waited till he died, too.
Really?
Yeah. Before she came out with it. But that was full with Lorraine's knowledge. So, and then other people have come forward, too, saying Ed was a sexual predator. Their own daughter didn't live with them.
Wow. I'm not going to lie, I didn't know that at all.
No.
That's insane.
So, and that only came out, really, where did I find that? I think it was like a Hollywood Reporter or some kind of article. But it came out because it was Paramount. When that franchise became worth billions of dollars, one of the people doing the digging at Paramount came across it and said, shit.
Yeah.
This is going to cost us money if it comes out.
Yeah.
So, especially in the movies, because the movies portray Ed and Lorraine the way they want to be portrayed up on that pedestal, deeply in love, fighting together.
Highly connected.
Yeah, which they weren't.
And they were they Catholic?
Yep, they were Catholic.
So that is really bad for the movie company.
Well, and for me it's interesting in that for me that puts a huge dent in their credibility. Because if they can do that kind of thing, then how much fact can some of their investigations have? For me personally, and I've read a lot of the cases, a lot of them are just dramaed, and there's no scientific objective evidence in hardly any of them.
Acts like that kind of tell you what a person is capable of.
Yeah.
And it shows you where their line in the sand is. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
So like you said, if they can do something like that, I'm sure they have no problem creating an image for money or.
No, and they're compromised, And it sucks to say that. I mean, I don't care. Well, apart from the underage thing. I mean, but their lifestyle, I really don't give a... But why would you lie about it?
Yeah.
And not only that, if, as per the allegation, signed affidavit, if she knew about it, she's also made herself complicit in the crime of statutory rape with foreknowledge. So, it's kind of, I don't know. And it's not just to slur them, it's to make the point of, chaps, when you go to movies or even a lot of books, you use a little bit of objective thinking. And if you're going to be prone to believe that it's true, go do some digging first. Yeah. Don't get invested in it straight away.
You know what I don't get is, why wouldn't she have said anything beforehand? I mean, there would have been a lot of money possibly changing hands there.
It wasn't about the money.
I know, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like if she had
the reason she did it was she didn't get any money from any of the conjuring, even though I think she's in them, as like an assistant. But she, and that was fine. I read the reason she actually made that affidavit is because it really ticked her off the way the movies were portraying Ed and Lorraine Warren.
That makes sense.
Now, you have to remember, she lived as like wife number 2 for 40 years with him. So I can see as how she'd be like, oh, I've just been, put to the side and, none of that really happened. That's your whole fucking life.
That makes sense. That's kind of what I was trying to figure out was, what was her reason for not saying anything all those years? It
was cited as just the movies.
Just the movies.
Changing the history.
Like
she never existed. Yeah. So, and like I say, she was like 70-something when she signed it. So, and she admitted, she still had strong feelings for Ed, even though he died.
I mean, obviously.
They quit kind of being companions about 3 years before he died, and she then got married. But she said she's kind of bitter that she let her life get that screwed up and all the shit she missed out on, like having a husband and kids and all that.
Yeah, that's
just to be a secret mistress.
Too. Yeah, I mean, that whole time, one, getting seduced at that age, and two, that whole time just being the second.
And then you see a movie come out where, they're all lovey-dovey and you're off to the side. Like, I think that would piss me off a little bit.
Yeah.
I'd be like, right, well, you fuckers, I'm going to a lawyer. So, I don't know.
It's insane. What you find out behind the scenes is crazy.
Yeah, you got to do your digging. So, enjoy a good story. That's fine. Yeah. But I'm always a little, hang on a minute, when they, especially Hollywood, they say based on a true story. They don't say it is a true story, they say based on a true story. And then look at the story and how true was the story that Hollywood got. Because Hollywood's going to sex the fuck out of it.
Well, and two, how are you going to look at the movies now? Now that I know this, every time I watch one of those movies, I'm going to have that in the back of my head.
Actually, I always thought they were frauds, so...
Well, I mean, not, just all of it. I mean, I always thought, it's a bit made up, too.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I mean...
And the movie is supposed to be played up to be a movie. Like, the movies are good, but...
Yeah, they're good stories.
That it's on a true story is kind of wrong.
Yeah, so... Once again, it goes back to our preachiness about if you're going to say you're a true movie, you better be close. If you're going to say you're an investigator, you better be close. Or at least have the intentions. Yeah. So, everybody sick of us yet?
Are they gone? Are you still here? This is a test.
This is a test of your cognitive functions. Please stay tuned. So anyway, that's enough of the negative crap. My question to you, Nico.
Okay, I'm ready.
If you were going to make a movie based on a true story, horror genre, do you know what you'd like to do?
You buffered that. Horror genre.
Well, it's a paranormal show.
I mean, in order to make a movie, what you kind of have to make some stuff up, don't you? I mean, to make it a little bit scary. I mean, nobody wants to see the boring stuff. It's like if we made a movie of us sitting at Edinburgh in the dark, cold. Nobody wants to see that.
No, but you could make up total fiction.
Yeah.
I didn't say based on a true story, because we were at Edinburgh once. That's true.
That's true. Yeah, I guess you could do that. I mean, I'd be going for shock scares. If I was gonna make, if I was in complete control of a movie, I'd want people jumping out of their seats. I wouldn't want some of the stuff that they have now that's not really scary. So I'd probably make it about, demons and ghosts and stuff like that.
And what true story would you base these on?
I have nothing at all. Yeah, like I said, I'm going completely for...
Welcome to Hollywood.
Bullshit. I want money. I want asses in the seats.
Popcorn and fillings.
It's the only way you get someone to buy a $5 box of candy. You gotta scare the shit out of them.
Make them throw their popcorn in the air. I see, personally, and you're right, you would have to sex it up. I get that.
You have to.
But you don't have to change the fundamentals. I mean, you could do, I don't know, I'm just going to pick Harry Price because that's who I've read most of. He's got some awesome case files. Now, his are a little iffy in places. In fact, some of them are just downright wrong. But, he's also got some that, like the Borley Rectory ones, are pretty good. Yeah. If you can cut out some of his stuff that he kind of... I mean, he sexed it up as well, I ain't going to lie. But he also did it a lot more down the line than the Warrens did, a lot of his investigations. So
I think you have a choice to make. If you're going to make a name for yourself and you're going to try to appeal to a crowd, I think you have to, like you said, sex it up a bit. If you don't, it's not going to appeal to most people. It's going to be boring.
You know what you could do better with that kind of material, though, maybe, is make more of a psychological drama or a psychological thriller movie, in that let the movie get into people's heads. You don't have to show them everything. Like, say, the way the mind works, your mind will fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
You show them certain points in the plot and let people fill in, and then right at the end have a twist.
See, that sounds harder.
I know, that's why they don't do it.
That's why it's a problem. That's harder.
Do you remember The Sixth Sense?
Yeah.
That was, apart from, blown off faces every now and then and someone puking in their own food, I mean, that wasn't an action film. It wasn't really that gory. No. But it had the jump scares, like you said.
It was still spooky.
And then it had that twist.
Yep.
Because our brains had filled in the blanks totally fucking wrong.
Yep.
Most people didn't get it, till the end. So.
And that's kind of the art, if you really want to be a good filmmaker, that's the art of filmmaking. It's knowing people is a part of it.
If you take a lot of these paranormal cases, you don't have to say whether they're true or not. You can put the relevant facts out there in a way and make a good movie without, you can sex up what it looked like or sex up the details, but keep the core of the details true.
Yeah.
And then let people make their own minds up, whether it's something paranormal going on or, whatever.
Either way, they're still going to run to the bathroom with the lights on that night anyway.
Yeah, if you do it right, you know. So, I don't know. There's a lot of positives that you can get. I mean, even from the movies we've mentioned. I mean, I'm just gonna arbitrarily strike the Amityville because I don't think any of that was true. But for example, the Perron family have kind of a strong case. And I'm torn between their motives and everything else, but they did have enough witnesses, etc. From what I've read anyway. Points of that could be true. So if you were gonna do a movie about that, I don't know. I just take the points that are discussable as maybe these happened. And there's some credence in them actually happening, and then weave that together in a story.
Yeah, well,
without making too much up.
I think too, where they have to make a bit up is sometimes maybe like we've been talking about some of these stories, possibly one or two things happened and the rest is crap or even proven to be crap. So if you have one or two findings that you're just going to kind of lay out there and let someone bring up, you can't make a whole movie out of that. You can't play off of just those one or two things. You gotta kind of build on it and make some crap up.
You do, but you've got things like character building, which doesn't get done anymore. Everybody's just like a cut and paste stereotype that they do. There's no, the films that make Oscars, like the Joker, for example, the new Joker. That whole movie is just about character building. Yeah. Really, there's hardly any plot in that damn film.
No, it's all about him. It's all about how he can be. And
So, if you did if you do character building movie, for example, based around events, and you don't need many, like the film The Joker showed. There's just a few events that go towards the making of the character of someone. It's a psychological thriller. Basically, it's not really a horror movie per se. But I would go see those kind of movies every day of the week.
Yeah, I think that depends on who's watching them. What you prefer. Some people just want, they don't care. They just want it to be scary. They want it to be cool. Other people, like you said, you would way rather go see those kind of movies.
Yeah, but once again, and that's fine. These are good stories. The Conjuring is a good story. Amityville is a good story. It's that based on true crap that does it for me, that made me want to do this episode. And not only that, then when they say based on truth, then you get a lot of people actually believing it word for word. Literally, all of that stuff happened.
It's just like the difference between investigator and hunter.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
And it's, it disappoints me.
A lot comes with it, and it kind of discredits the field a bit, too.
Well, that's it. It pisses in the data pool for real paranormal research, is when you believe that hard in a Hollywood thing. Oh, this is how it really is. I see it. I saw it in the film. It must be true.
Yeah, and that ties into what people expect. Like you just said, they go to some haunted places. They expect some things like they saw in the movies. Some people even make stuff up. They completely make stuff up that's happened to them or what they've seen places, or they tell you a story.
Yeah, but why do they do that? I mean, is it from peer pressure to fit in?
Yeah, I don't know. Or attention. Like, for instance...
Or attention?
I had this is a little off topic, but not. But I had a lady get a hold of me about a private residence, an investigation of a private residence. When we first started talking, she was telling me about all these things that were happening out in the open. She was hearing her name, her kids' names. She said that a book had got thrown across the room, and this is real. And then when I started talking about what to do, I wanted her to write down times it was happening. I wanted to set up equipment. I was asking her if she had like a video camera she could set up, catch some of these things. Then when it got a little bit too real, she completely stopped talking to me.
Yep.
And it's like, if that stuff was really going on still, and you were really scared of it, why would you quit talking to someone who was trying to help you?
Or even not scared of it, you just want it documented to know that you're not going crazy.
Well, see, what she wanted, though, she wanted, because I knew a couple of her family members, that's how she even found out about me. She wanted someone who was going to be like, oh my goodness, yes, let's, we need to get a priest in there, we need to burn sage. Like, she wanted that. She was saying things like that, too. She was like, should I try a Ouija board? Should I burn sage? Can I, And I was like, no, let's start with the basics. When does it happen?
Sage and onion sausages.
Yeah. Yeah. But, she completely went away. It became unimportant.
Yeah. And that's, I guess that's why we get preachy is, stop the validation of nonsense. It's no good to anybody, really. It sucks for the field. It sucks for the people that are having an issue, if that's not what their issue is, and I can tell you probably 99% of them aren't really having that kind of issue. No. I know people don't want to hear it in this field. See, a lot of people in the paranormal field, you talk to them and it's like ghosts are 10 a dozen. Yeah. It's happening all the time, all around us. And it's not.
At least not in our experience so far.
Well, in anybody's experience.
I mean, it's true.
It's not just us.
We don't have,
It's the rest of the world that aren't in the paranormal field, don't see orbs every 2 seconds or hear their voice, And, coming back to the example of your daughter, she wasn't getting it until she saw that, and then her mind started filling in those things for
shadows were something creepy standing at the door.
Exactly.
And I had to go over there and say, oh, no, wait, it's not, look at, And now it's all better,
And it's fine if you're going ghost hunting and you put a night aside, you pay your money, you take your toys, and you go there and you get all excited and you're having fun. Nothing wrong with that. But when you have someone that is obviously has some kind of problem comes to you and says, all these things are going on and it's demons and what have you not, and the kids ain't going to school because of demons, like the big cases. There's obviously a problem there that probably isn't paranormal. Yeah. And for people to jump straight on there and say, oh yeah, you need to do this and burn sage, which is the burning sage. I mean, that's not even historically correct.
You know what's sad too is if I could have easily went down that path with that person and just made it all up. Would that have made it better?
No.
You know what I mean? If I had done what she thought was supposed to work and I had been on board, and so she, instead of her coming to me and me kind of making it more real, saying, no, that's not how it is, that's not my, if I had been like, yes, this is what we need to do, I'm going to come and do it, it might have made her think that it worked, I don't know.
Placebo
maybe
effect.
Maybe she wouldn't have stopped talking to me because...
Yeah, maybe she would have got 10 times worse before she got better, though.
Maybe.
I mean, it's like someone who believes...
maybe I would have never made it out of the house.
Quick, sage and onion sausages. I'm starving.
Turn you into a pot pie.
I'm going to lock you in the slave room. Here's your gimp mask. So,
is it weird that I like it in here?
There's no electricity. There's no electricity. I mean, it's, I don't know. Somebody brought up the comparison. It's like someone comes up to you and says, I think the CIA are listening to my thoughts through my feelings.
Yeah, they are.
Exactly. Worst thing you can say to them, really, because then they're really going to go off the deep end.
Yeah, they do. And I've had that personally. I mean, you and I both work in the IT field. When I work on someone's computer, and I'm sorry if any of you out there do this, but they cover up their microphones and their webcams.
Yep.
All I say to people is, what are they trying to steal? Your, like, secret soup recipe? What are you hiding?
Well, you can't see it from the camera.
Yeah, what do you need to, cover up your mic and your camera for or anything? What are they getting from you?
Those same people have an Alexa sitting on the counter, too.
Yeah, I know.
That listens to,
I know.
And that doesn't even listen to everything.
And I'll tell you what, I've been in this situation personally. When you tell them that Alexa might get thrown in the garbage.
Well,
they're like, the next day you see it on eBay.
Once again, nobody's thought about it objectively. So if every Alexa out there was listening to every word that everybody says, do you know how much data that would be? I mean, you'd need more. All the computers in the world wouldn't bloody hold
It's
it.
like the beginning of Skynet.
Yeah, but I mean, where's all that going to go? And who's going to listen to it?
Who cares?
You know?
Well, what my point was who cares?
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
What do you, unless you have something to hide, why would you care? What are you hiding? You know?
Who's going to listen to it?
Yeah. Are you secretly a terrorist? Are you building bombs in your basement? And
You'd have to have like an East German government where half the population listens to the other half of the population, and you know that the other half's listening to you, if you know what I mean. So no one's going to bloody listen. Yeah. Anyway, coming back to the point, we're going off topic as always.
I liked it.
I know. I think reinforcement of nonsensical stuff is bad, okay?
Yeah,
bad.
It's really bad, okay?
Okay. Anyway, we're supposed to be going on something positive. And I think that is positive, of, taking a positive action against somebody that, has left reality a little bit, trying to pull them back down again.
Yeah.
Maybe. But seldom works in my
good luck with that.
I know.
Nah.
My experience.
Like I said, they'll throw their Alexa away. Alexa is now the enemy.
You're one of them.
Can you just remove the camera?
Be like the Cyclops with the eye poked out.
Or you can mess with them. Okay, listen, I know they might hear us right now. Shh. Let's go into the bathroom and wrap ourselves in towels.
Whoa. I can see a lawsuit in your future. So
he touched me. It broke me.
Show me on the Wicker Man where he touched you. So yeah, I mean, I got nothing against good stories, good horror movies. But when you start doing based on a true story that isn't a true story or is a halfway true story, when you're watching it, if you like the story, that's great. If you think it might be real, that's great too. But do your due diligence, and then both ways. Don't just look for reinforcements of your opinion. Look for things that go against your opinion, or, because it's out there.
At the end of all these movies now, at the very, very last end of the credits, is going to say, pissed off John Black in the making of this film.
I want compensation. My butt's really hurt now. I feel like I was in Deliverance.
Oh, wow. So.
Anyway, anything else you'd like to add, Nico?
No, I think this is a good episode. What do you guys think? Tell us in the comments. Was it a good episode?
I'm becoming psychic. I think I know what What do you know?
Someone didn't download it.
You dissed the Warrens. Burn them.
Yeah, but it was legit, right?
Well, it's still down, sworn affidavits.
It's proven.
Alleged, and alleged enough by the person that she went to a lawyer and wrote it down as a sworn statement. I mean,
and like you said, I mean, she didn't have anything to gain, anything to lose. 70-something years old. But what would be the point of it?
Yeah. Fake news.
Yeah.
Anyway, All right, well, we got a little bit of time left. Should we bore them some more?
No, go now. Find us a ghost.
Oh, yeah. Sorry,
No, he controls the stop button.
I do.
I'm looking at it right now.
Anyway, so, well, what have we done new? Or what are we about to do new? We're about to do the Batchy experiment, and we probably will have done it by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing the radio. We're going to jiggle it between 6 and 7 megahertz white noise. And
jiggle it just right.
We're going to jiggle it just right.
Gonna find us a ghost when we jiggle it.
I'm going to go somewhere and turn my knob.
No, I'm really excited for this one. It's a first for me.
Yeah,
An experiment, not the knob thing.
Oh, all right. Keep your own hands on your own knobs while twisting. So we're going to be doing. So it was the Batchy experiment is basically it's called direct voice radio or direct voice radio. I think where you just do the white noise, and according to Mr. Batchy, if you wait long enough and someone's trying to get through or wants to get through. After about 20 minutes, the static will become less and you will start getting a communication. So we have a prime location and a prime reason for someone to come through, so we're going to try that. And we will keep you posted on that. What else were we going to do? We got a ton of stuff we got in our heads.
It's all in there.
No, I want to do more. Oh, the... headband monitoring as well.
Oh, yeah.
So for reading of the brainwaves, first we'll see if I actually got any. So we're going to...
Sorry, this is Flatline. Say something funny.
Brains! So, hey, I wonder what you'd get off a zombie. They got to have some kind of brain functions.
Yeah, I mean, hunger.
Yeah.
They've got cravings.
Got the hungry ways.
Yeah. Brains.
And headshots kill them.
No, we really do need to do that more, though.
Yeah.
That's something that we keep... I forgot about that on some of our last investigations. We didn't write that out.
Yeah, so we're going to have to start putting that on our experiments as well. So I'm going to probably do that during the Batchy one. So, and we'll see if it... I mean, A, if we get anything through, and B... if the EEG band change at any
we
point.
need to at least start using enough to get a good baseline. I'd say like 6, 7, 8 times.
Yeah, just sitting in the corner, not
yeah.
thinking about anything, which is hard.
That's hard.
Yeah.
And then we got to put it on different people.
Don't think of an elephant. You just thought of one.
We put it on Eric when he falls asleep. Actually, he does really good now. He doesn't go to sleep so much anymore.
No.
He doesn't. But I think he comes, he gives his all, and then he takes off.
Yep. So... which is fine. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. But we need like a test pig now, you know what I mean? Like, okay, this is an active brain in the corner.
You mean a guinea pig?
A guinea pig, yeah.
Test pig.
This is an active person in the corner. This is a sleeping person in the corner. What's the difference?
Now we've used the test pig. We've got bacon for breakfast.
Then I get to sit there with a pen and pad across the room and go, what were you dreaming about? Why did it raise here?
So, yeah. Oh my God. Nico Freud.
All kinds of possibilities. Can't wait for them.
Were you very attached to your mother? And your father, what does he make you feel?
I'm going to test it. Will it pick up like favorite foods? Like if I take a bite of a donut and then I take a bite of like, I don't know, a piece of pizza or something, will it stimulate me differently? I don't know. I want to know.
I think you're expecting a little too much.
No?
It's
Okay.
like, what, you think a picture of a hamburger is going to come on it if you eat a hamburger?
I don't know. I want to test it out. Like, I do. I want to test it out. Show like a picture of a cow and then show like a picture of boobies and see what happens. Why didn't it raise? I like boobies.
Because apparently you like cows a lot better.
That's creepy.
Food.
I might find out some things I don't want to know.
Exactly. Be careful where you go with these.
Then we have to put them on other people.
Yeah, right. That's going to
I'm going to put it on my daughter. I'm going to raise a book in the air and TikTok. Book, iPad. Book, iPad. Am I raising you right? No? Yes.
Use it as a polygraph.
Yeah, I can tell you're lying to me.
Have you done your homework?
Don't lie to me. Did you do good?
Go to school. It's like, my dad makes me wear this.
I don't know. It just went up 2%. You lied.
My gamma lines go up too high. I get a phone call.
That says good parent to me. Yeah.
Okay. Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, yeah, sorry, the movie one kind of went away just because I guess there are. I mean, there's good movies. It's just when you put them together with based on a true story.
I like them.
I'm
definitely going to look at them differently, though, like I said.
Well, hopefully everyone will.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. All 4 of you listening, if you're still listening.
Enjoy the movies. Doesn't stop you enjoying the movies. Just stops you having Hollywood ideas in your head. That and then the scriptwriters are all these hipsters drinking lattes, sitting around a Mac.
Yeah, that's true.
With their weird ideas.
Can't trust anyone who sits around a Mac.
Or drinks lattes, in my experience. So.
Sorry. Have a love-hate with Macs.
And lattes.
If Apple came out with a ghost hunting device, I'd shut it down so fast. There'd be a whole episode, no problem.
Be the iGhost.
Yeah. I'd be done with it.
I spook.
Do a face reveal. This is me burning their product.
Damn, dude, you're getting radical.
Whatever.
Alrighty.
Oh, passionate.
Well, we've rambled on at you long enough. Hopefully you will have left some comments. Please do. And otherwise you can get in touch with us at phantomscience.net, where it has links to our YouTube channel where we do post serious investigation stuff. We don't waffle too much there. In fact, you hardly know we're there half the time.
Yeah.
And also Facebook, where we post from time to time stuff and links to articles that we found interesting, usually scientific in nature, but also paranormal, not just how many atoms are there in the universe. Get in touch with us. We like the feedback. The more feedback we get, the less waffling ones you get like tonight, because we will be able to concentrate.
Maybe we can even have you on the show.
Yeah, if
it'd be awesome.
If you got something to say and you don't mind being discussed. So, all right, well, time's up. Now, get out there, find a ghost, and bring me some evidence, please.